This is very cool. This is very cool to have West Weeks, LSU second-year linebacker, hanging out with us here at LSU Odyssey. I mean, West, this is your second season at LSU, your second fall camp. How are things going for you?
It's kind of came to me a lot easier this year, second year under Coach House's system. So I feel like I know the defense pretty well. So it's cool to kind of see it develop for me.
And this, I mean, today everyone's going crazy about this brawl that went on in today's practice.
Yeah.
What was your viewpoint of that, and what do you think it says about this year's team?
Honestly, I wouldn't really look into it too much. If you're on the outside, I mean, I was on the field when it happened. It kind of just how it is. Everybody run up together. Some punches were thrown. Tensions were a little high. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're a team, and that stuff happens in football. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect us as a team.
Sometimes it's like the testosterone is just
Well,
going, and you're just throwing
yeah,
fists, and it's like you're punching a helmet. What are you doing? You're about to break your hand. Like,
nah, yeah, exactly. You kind of fall camp. You get tired of seeing the same dudes over and over and over. So it kind of bound to happen at some point. But I mean, I think Coach Kelly handled it really well, and us as players, we kind of got to step up and kind of police ourselves and just be a little bit more disciplined when it comes to that type of stuff.
did you have to keep your little brother out of the fray?
Oh yeah, he a little freshman. He wants to get in on all the action, so he was chomping at the bit to get in it.
You know now that it is football season when you get a fist to the face
Oh
in
yeah,
110-degree weather. You know it is football season. I mean, just this is your first off season though, West, with at
uh-huh.
LSU with your little brother Witt on roster, and since he's a linebacker too, you guys are stuck together. You guys are stuck
Oh
together. You
yeah.
have no choice. Every drill, every meeting. What's it been like having your brother there with you through all this?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, during high school, that was our main goal: was play college football together. We had probably my favorite year of football was my senior year when he was a sophomore. Just kind of how that's when we really became best friends, and we made a connection that I feel like not a lot of people have. And since he's got to LSU, it's been real cool to see him grow from kind of not knowing anything to stepping up this fall camp. I think he's going to have a chance to play a good role for us. I mean, he's been working his tail off, and it's really cool to see him and how he's grown over these past few months.
I mean, how was that during the spring game where you two were actually on the field alongside each other in certain packages, tackling dudes just like it was old times at Oconee?
No, yeah, it was awesome. It was just like the old days, and like I said, that was probably one of my favorite years of football. So it's awesome to have him out there, and it's even cooler that we get to play right beside each other.
And he had that pick six in his LSU debut.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, even if it was in an exhibition game, it was an incredible play. What was going through your head when he cut in on that route and you could see the ball was headed for his hands?
I was happy for him. I mean, for him, that's something he'll never forget. And for me to see how happy he was after that, it was awesome for me to see him do that.
I remember talking with your dad during that game. He was like, "Send me film of that. Send me film of that," because he was there and he wanted film immediately of that. And he was like, he said, "I just have tears in my eyes watching both my boys playing for LSU, playing for the same team. I didn't think this would be possible. You know, you were
Mhm.
at Virginia not too long
Mhm.
ago. So
Yeah.
like this coming together, I know it was very special for your father, David. He was just absolutely elated watching you two going at it like there. But let's take it back a moment to your high school days because I feel like there's so much about you and your talent as a football player that can be explained there, West.
Mhm.
You played six different positions. Six
Yeah.
different
Yep.
positions. You played quarterback, right?
Yes, sir.
I All of a sudden this kid named Max Johnson transfers in. You were the quarterback before Max came in, right?
Yeah, so it kind of worked out. Looking back on it, it worked out perfectly for me. So when I was a freshman, Max came in, and that was when I was still playing QB. And my freshman year, I actually broke my collarbone, so I basically missed the whole year. And then at the end of that year, my head coach, he sat me down. He's like, "Look, you can either keep playing QB. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're probably not gonna have. You'll play JV, do all that type of stuff, but I feel like you can contribute to the team at other positions." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm gonna do whatever's gonna help the team and whatever can get me on that varsity roster." So that's when I switched over to defense and started playing some different positions on offense too. So I think that was obviously a pretty big turning point in my football career for sure.
Was there like an actual quarterback competition between you and Max going into that season?
No, not really, because I was a freshman, and kind of how our high school does it, we didn't have any freshmen playing varsity. So if it was going to be a competition, it would have been the next year.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mhm.
Max is older than you, ahead of you
Yeah,
by I think yeah, like a year and 2 years.
yeah,
You caught a lot of passes from Max as a
yeah.
receiver, especially during that season where you had 7 receivers go down with significant injuries.
Mhm.
What impact do you feel playing receiver or those 5 other positions? What do you think that had on your development?
I think it obviously helped me a lot. Just made me a better athlete. Kind of understand the game as a whole. I mean, you're running routes that helps you on defense, knowing kind of the tendencies of what receivers want to do and how they work to get open and find zones. So I think that definitely helped me help me playing defense, because it was kind of my first time seeing football from the other side of the ball. So I think it did help me out a lot.
You know, you were actually recruited out of high school by one of the best linebacker developers I think we've ever seen. At least one of them, maybe not the best, but at least one of them. Bronco Mendenhall recruited you like crazy to go to Virginia. What made you feel like that was the right place for you at that time?
Yeah, so obviously I was at a COVID class, so I didn't get to play, or I didn't get to visit too many places, but that was one of the places that I got to visit. It was really the connections I made with the coaches. I fell in love with the coaches there. Coach Bronco, Coach Pop. He's at a BYU now. He's a great dude, and those dudes were kind of the dudes that really recruited me the hardest coming out of anywhere. So I feel like at that time that was the right choice for me.
Is that Papinga?
Yeah, Coach Papinga. Yep.
There's like a billion Papingas at
Oh
BYU. I
yeah.
swear to God.
Yeah.
That's our country up here. We know all those guys. Your dad, as a Georgia alum,
Hmm.
how did he feel about you going somewhere outside of the home state and his alma mater?
Oh, he was all on board with it. My dad, he supports us in everything we do. If I would have went to Georgia, he would have been happy. If I would have went to Georgia Southern, he would have been happy. If I would have went to D3 school, he would have been happy. He's always been there for me. He's been my biggest motivation, and he's really helped me along the way. He was just happy for me in the decision that I made.
Your dad's an awesome dude. I love
Yeah,
talking
no,
with him.
he's awesome.
He just seemed like someone who's always just gonna buy in. Like you're his boys, he's gonna buy in, and he'll take a bullet for you guys. I love talking with fathers like that. As a new dad, I'm taking notes. I'll just say
Oh
that.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
You're then head coach Bronco Mendenhall. You know he has that history of developing great linebackers or hybrid defenders. You know you got Brian Urlacher, doesn't get much better than that.
Hmm.
Ziggy Ansah, top 5 pick, and then you got Kyle Van Noy, won a couple
Yeah.
Super Bowls. You know how what type of development did factors did he have on your development? Impacts did he have on your development?
I think I mean, they had to play a pretty big part. I mean, obviously, when you get to college, it's a lot different game. It's a lot more mental. So they kind of showed me that, oh, you actually have to know stuff playing linebacker. I mean, you're the quarterback of the defense, so you're making calls. You got to fit the run. You got to play the pass. So, and you're right in the middle of the action. So you got to do it in split second decisions. And I think I spent a lot of time my freshman year just trying to learn the playbook and get real familiar with it. And I think that's helped me a lot along this journey.
Wes, we just got to say it. I mean, we were really excited when you transferred here because your freshman year at Virginia was awesome. I
Mhm.
mean, action packed in limited reps. We'll put the numbers up there for everybody again, but you still featured quite a bit more as the season went on. 252 total snaps, and 99 of those snaps were in coverage, and you had a 77.8 coverage rating on Pro Football Focus, which was second on the entire Virginia defense. This was as during your freshman year, you broke up 5 passes. Did playing like a lot of receiver in high school help you get better at coverage?
Oh yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, obviously just the from the athletic standpoint of it, breaking on routes and all that type of stuff. It's really the same thing. If you can see what that receiver is going to do before he does it, I think that helps a lot. And kind of knowing those receiving concepts helped me out a lot in getting faster breaks and all that type of stuff.
It just seemed like, I mean, your freshman linebacker breaking up 5 passes. I believe that was more than all of LSU's DBs except for Jay Ward during that 2021 season, which is just incredible when you look at Eli Ricks was on that team, Derek Stingley Jr. You had more pass breakups.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I mean, when did you decide you were going to transfer from Virginia, and what led to that decision?
Yeah, so at the end of that 21 season, so that was when Coach Bronco he stepped down as the head coach, and I mean it was definitely a hard decision for me. I put a lot of thought into it, and Coach Pop he was also going to be going too. He had a big part of why I made my decision, and I thought I can either start over. I'd be starting over regardless, so I can either start over here or start over somewhere where I really wanted to be. And I always dreamed to play college football at the highest level in the biggest stadiums, and obviously doesn't get too much better than LSU SEC. So at the end of the day, I saw that I had was going to have that opportunity, and then I just hopped in the portal, and the rest is history, really.
I mean, right when you transferred, LSU offered your younger brother Witt. I think a bit after, maybe, but
Mhm.
was that part of any discussions with LSU before you signed?
Oh yeah, no, because at the time he wasn't getting he was getting recruited, but he wasn't getting recruited heavily as he should have been. I told him if I'm coming, I want my little brother to come with me. So that's when they gave him the offer. But then I think they started doing a little bit more research on him. They're like, oh, this dude's legit too. So it wasn't just like oh he's coming, he gets the offer. It was a legit offer for sure.
Oh, he proved that. I mean,
Oh yeah,
anyone who's watched his game, just like you both of you two played so many different positions at Oconee. It was ridiculous. Very, very versatile. It's adding to your game as you come in here, and it doesn't look like you're losing much of a step. Even if you come in raw a bit, like Witt, he's a freshman. He's going to be picking it up, and he's got his brother right there to help show him the way.
oh yeah,
I just think it's really cool you two both being there together. It's crazy because literally a month before you both were headed to LSU, both Max and Jake Johnson left. All four of you were so close to being teammates at the collegiate level. All four of you. I mean,
yeah. No, that would have been a really something. It would have been pretty cool. I don't think that happens too often, if it even has ever happened. Especially because we all played high school ball together. But that would have been something that I would have loved to have happened. But unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is, and they had to do what was best for them at the end of the day.
what was your first impression of LSU when you arrived, West?
Yeah, so it's kind of a crazy story about how I got here. Like, so at first, because when you enter the transfer portal, it's just kind of all chaos, and I was so tired. I didn't even want to take. I told my dad like I don't even want to go on the visit to LSU because I didn't know. I was pretty dead set that I wanted to go to South Carolina, and then Coach Polian, he was the one who actually really convinced me to. He was just like, "Come on the visit, you'll fall in love with it." And then I came and I was like, "Holy cow!" Like I literally fell in love with it. I didn't even want to go on any more visits after that. I knew immediately that this is where I wanted to be.
I love it. I love it. Matt House was hired, right after when you arrived, and Super Bowl champion. coached some great players at the Chiefs. When he came in as both your defensive coordinator and position coach, did you see the game differently because of him?
Oh yeah, Coach House has made a crazy impact on me, and I mean he's the best coach I've ever been around. Just his knowledge of the game, he knows so much about football, and it's kind of rubbed off on us. And I think as a linebacker group as a whole, we've kind of taken a huge step forward from just that point of the game, like watching film, all that, seeing tendencies, all that type of stuff. And I feel like that's kind of made us also closer as a linebacking core. I mean, that's kind of how you play good defense. It starts in the middle with the linebackers. So we know we have to be tough inside. We have to get the communications out. And I mean, there's no better dude to teach you than Coach House in the country.
If that's not a great endorsement right there, I don't know what is. I mean, when you got here your first year last year, there was a lot of fluctuation with the staff, a lot of new guys on the roster. Everybody seemed kind of new, kind of adjusting. What were the biggest challenges for you, like last season, first at LSU, new state as well, new head coach, new DC?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest adjustment for me was really just kind of starting over brand new again. Like coming here, I didn't know anybody. Like I kind of had no clue. I didn't really know anything about anything. It's kind of just like being a freshman all over again, new coaching staff, new people to be around. But I feel like everybody welcomed me with open arms and just became friends with everybody. And then coaching staff, they help that, you gel with them as you continue to grow. I think they've helped me a lot too along the way.
I see a guy who's just enjoying his time as a Tiger at you. Every time you're posting something, you're always like hanging out, rocking out with the guys with the
Oh yeah.
shades. You're always chilling. I mean, and you're also a guy who plays with 100% every single snap. I mean, some say it's toxic masculinity when we show love to our bros, when bromances may occur during the heat of battle in football season. So let's talk some of your teammates, West. You had a front row seat when Harold Perkins went off, had a truly epic season. What is it like playing alongside him every day?
Oh my gosh, he's awesome. I mean, obviously he's one of the best players in the country, and I mean, if you know Perk, he's also one of the hardest working dudes on the team. So it's not like just he goes out there and does his thing. He's working every day, and he pushes us to be the best that we can be too. And I think he's due up for another unbelievable season for sure.
Absolutely. Has the way they've moved him into the more middle linebacker, how does that affect your role?
So he plays. So they moved him to Will, and I'm at Mike. So it doesn't affect me too much. But kind of having him in the box. I mean, it always helps when you have a playmaker beside you. So it's pretty cool to see. Oh, excuse me.
You're
Kind of
good.
how he's developed playing inside backer too.
How is new guy, new transfer, but I've heard he's been seamlessly kind of integrated into the team. But how has Omar Spates changed the dynamic of the linebacker room?
He's stepped in there, kind of being one of those older dudes. He's definitely helped lead the group. He's come in. He's that dude. He's been everywhere. He knows everything. You can ask him questions. He's there. He's going to help you out, and he's also a great leader. So it's cool to kind of see how he's been working too.
You know, what are you seeing in fall camp that maybe us in the media just aren't paying attention to or just completely missing?
You can say that one more time for me.
Yeah, what are you seeing in fall camp that I know you guys are buried in with practices. You're not like obviously looking at everybody, all the media's posts of camp. But from what you're hearing, are you seeing anything in fall camp that maybe us in the media aren't paying attention to, or like a guy that we're completely missing, just not paying attention to?
I think it's just the fact of how close we are as a team. I mean, we're really all brothers. Everybody's hanging out in the locker room after practice, eating lunch together, eating dinner. So it's really cool to just see how our teams come together and gel.
Who are some of your closest friends on the team?
My closest friends. Excuse me, something got into me or something.
You're good, man.
I mean, obviously, my brother Whit, we're always together, and then I'm really close with. We got a pretty tight friend group about me, Mason Taylor, Preston Hickey. He's another one of the new transfer guys.
Yes.
Slade Roy, he's my other roommate, so we're real close together.
Slade Roy, I hope he wins best long snapper in the
Oh yeah, me
country.
too. Me too. He should definitely win funniest long snapper in the country if he doesn't win anything.
So is he the funniest guy on the team?
I'd have to say so easily. So it's me, him, and Wit who are roommates, and it's nonstop in our house. We're always dying laughing. He's always cracking jokes.
I've heard some interesting stuff about Slade Roy, and I've always wanted to reach out to him and get him on the show because I've always wanted to talk to him. I've always wanted to show love to the long snappers. I mean, that play he had where they punted off against Mississippi State, he runs 55 yards down there and recovers the ball inside the I was like, that's the long snapper who just recovered that.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's nuts. We've seen a lot of footage this fall camp of our receivers, our tight ends catching passes on our secondary, and there's been plenty of question marks at the back end. How is Coach House setting up this defense to help your secondary?
Oh, well, I think it goes first of all to say those dudes have been working their tails off, and they've came a long way. And then again in the media, you always see the deep balls that are being caught and stuff like that, but you don't see the plays where they're breaking up passes, making interceptions, making all types of plays. So I know those dudes have been having a real good camp, and I think Coach House is kind of just keeping it how it is. He's not doing too much to help those guys, even though they're young guys. He knows that they can step up and make plays for us.
See, that's what I love to hear. Is last year everyone was freaking out the same stuff. Our receivers are destroying our DBs. Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, these are LSU receivers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like it's gonna happen. They're gonna get theirs. It's modern football. Offense is usually gonna win, and in the end, it made our DBs better for last season. I think we'll get there this year. But back to you, West. When I look at your numbers, the more you played last year, the more your production naturally increased, but in a considerable way. I mean, like 7 tackles from just 36 snaps versus Purdue. You put up 3 TFLs on the season, 1.5 sacks, the forced fumble against Southern. Despite the media trying to pencil in their starting lineups prematurely, kind of this guy will start here, this guy will start there. What kind of role do you feel is lining up for you this fall?
I think I might have a good role. I mean, obviously, my goal is to be out there as much as I can, helping the team, whether that's special teams, linebacker, whatever they want me to do. And that being said, I think we got the deepest linebacker core in the country, and I think it's going to be a collective of guys kind of rolling in there, keeping dudes fresh. I think some dudes will obviously have more roles than others, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a pretty big group effort, and I think that will help us a lot. Stay fresh, be able to go full speed on every down for us.
Man, so many times last year, I totally see exactly what you're saying because last year, so many times I was going through the film and I was just watching every game going through. I wasn't even necessarily prepping for our conversation, but it stuck out to me then. And so it stuck out to me now when I'm talking to you. But there's so many times where you came on the field and brought so much energy, just coming on there, flying around, being a lightning rod. I see this role where you can come on and just help shut down marching drives for a defense that is wearing down. You can provide that spark at the most critical back against the wall kind of situations. I've seen you do that before this last season. You made a lot of plays that I think go unnoticed, and I think you're due for an awesome season, West. What is your number one primary goal this fall camp and for this season?
Yeah, just helping the team in every way I can. I mean, I've been working my tail off this off season to fix some things that I need to improve on, and I've came a long way this off season. I've studied hard on the defense, so I basically feel like I'm kind of in that position where I can make a lot of plays for us. So hopefully, just do whatever I can to help the team ultimately.
Man, West, good luck to you for this season. I know you're going to have an awesome season because you play with 100%. You play with fire, with passion, with energy. You love LSU. LSU fans are really starting to absolutely love you every time they get to see you more and more. I see those positive vibes flying around. I think the stars are aligning for you in a great way this season. It's going to be a strong second year for you at LSU with your brother in tow as well. It's going to be special, man. You have a real chance to do something special this year with family right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think there's nothing that I want to do more than win a national championship with my dudes. And I think that's another thing that kind of goes unnoticed is just our desire for that. I mean, that's the goal at the end of the day, and everybody understands that, and that's why we work so hard day in and day out.
Man, you are echoing so much of what I've heard from so many of the players on this team, but like you're taking it to another level with this type of desire where you're like, we're gunning for it. We're not being shy about this. We know we're in contention. We know we have a target on our backs. Let's embrace this, baby. We're not hiding from anyone.
Exactly.
West, you just make me want to run through a brick wall. I love your football family. Your dad is one of my favorite people to talk to, and I really hope to get you on here again during the season or after fall camp, whenever you would like. And you are always welcome on this show. And thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to have me on here today.
No, thank you. I know how busy you are.
Oh yeah, no, it's always good to do stuff like this. I think it's really cool.
Well, you are always welcome, always invited. This has been fantastic, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.